In baseball history, the name Bobby Balcena may not be as recognizable as some others, but his significance to the sport is absolutely undeniable. Balcena holds the distinction of being the first Asian American professional baseball player, breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations of diverse talent in the sport. We're going to talk about his story today on Rounders, A History of Baseball in America. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rounders, A History of Baseball in America. I'm your host, Jeff Lambert. Before we get started on our topic today, all about Bobby Balcena, the first Asian American professional baseball player, I want to say, of course, thank you for taking time to make this show a part of your weekly schedule. I want to welcome our new subscribers. We had several this past week who signed up for the free email newsletter. Paul W., Sean M., Rebecca R., Mr. Danster, Pickle 33, Beatles fan 1098, user 3ECM2, Matt V, and MJW. Thank you all for joining for our free tier and getting access to the bonus show. And a special thanks to JL for becoming a premium member this week. Thank you for taking that step, getting deeper into supporting the show. And it's really great to have you as part of that second tier as well. To all of you, thank you very much for becoming a part of the community. Just as a reminder, we have two tiers. We have a free subscription that you can sign up for, and you can get a free weekly newsletter that comes with this main show. It has extra photos and videos and links so you can get deeper into the episode. And you also get access to a free bonus show, a second one that I do called This Week in Baseball History, where we go through the major events that happened every week in real time. Go back and examine what happened on each day in baseball history. So I would encourage you, it's free. Why not, right? Please take a moment and sign up for that. And then, of course, if you like what's going on, you can also take that extra step and become a paid subscriber. If you do that, you're going to get the free newsletter, you're going to get the bonus show, but you're also going to get to see the list of upcoming episodes. You're going to get access to this weekly main show a day earlier. You can have your feedback read in the episode. I send out questions every week to premium subscribers and ask for their input on the topic, and then I'll feature your feedback in the episode if you want to be a talking head on this show and give your input. It's a great way to do it. And the cost is only about a cup of coffee per month. So if you have the means to be able to do that, man, I would appreciate that financial support for those of you that can. But overall, all of you, thank you for taking time to make this show a part of that daily schedule, that weekly schedule. If you're catching up and you found the show recently, I'd encourage you, check out the backlog. We are really cruising through. This is episode 68. It feels like just yesterday we started. I really love doing this, and I appreciate all of you that are hopping on for the ride. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into Bobby Balcena's story, the first Asian American to play professional baseball.
Will, talk to me.
ABC Tuesdays.
They took his daughter. She's coming home alive.
Will Trent, the series critics are calling powerful must-see TV, continues to thrill.
Shouldn't we strategize before we go in there?
If we screw up this case, a cop killer walks free.
With its most dramatic and heart-racing season yet.
GBI!
Help me!
Get down!
Will Trent, all new Tuesdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Robert Rudolph Balcena was born on August 1st, 1925 in San Pedro, California. Now, there wasn't a lot of information available about his early life, but during his time in school, both on the elementary and high school level, Balcena showed a very keen interest in baseball, playing for his school's teams, and he was very good from his stat lines that were laid out. And this points to me that there was, like so many other players that we profile in terms of their biographies, Bobby had a passion that would eventually help him get to the highest levels in the sport. Now, before we start talking about what he accomplished in his pro career, it is important to frame out the state of baseball during Balcena's coming of age. So Bobby Balcena made his major league debut in 1956. Keep in mind, this is only about a decade after World War II ended. All right. The sport was in a period of significant change and growth. You had the major and the minor leagues expanding. You had the game becoming more diverse, albeit slowly. And Balcena's career really has to be understood within that broader context. So let's just look at the 1950s. We had the major leagues becoming more integrated. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947. He was the first African American to play in the major leagues in the modern era. And this helped open the door for more diverse candidates to be able to get slots on major league teams. And that included Bobby Balcena. So despite the integration of baseball, racial tensions were still obviously very high, and players often faced discrimination and prejudice. And this was particularly true for Asian players, because not only are we very, within memory of World War II, where you had, several hundreds of thousands of individuals who had families who were involved in the war directly in the fighting, probably lost a family member fighting in the Pacific Theater against the Japanese. Usually all Asian Americans were lumped into that category, unfortunately. And so you had, in addition to the ethnic discrimination, you had language barriers for a lot of first-generation Asian Americans. You had the cultural differences. And then on top of that, of course, you had those racially motivated stereotypes and attacks. So Bobby Balcena had a tough road to walk to be able to make it to this level, because baseball is still going through that transition of integration. So Bobby Balcena's road to the major leagues was actually through Cincinnati. He was able to get on board with a minor league squad for the team, and he was called up in September of 1956 towards the end of the season, and he was able to play for the Cincinnati Redlegs for 7 big league games. And although that time stint is very short in terms of his logged games in the major leagues, he did become the first player of both Asian and Filipino ancestry to appear in a major league game. And that's a milestone that we obviously remember to this day. Now, across those 7 league big games that he played, he only had 2 at-bats. But I think the important thing here to remember is the presence of him actually being on the field symbolized a significant shift in the public mindset, a continuing significant shift. And that echoed the sentiment, just like Jackie Robinson did, that regardless of your heritage, if you could play the game, you could get an opportunity to play at the highest level. That door was starting to open wider. While his stint in the major leagues were short, Balcena had a very long and distinguished career in the minor leagues and independent leagues outside of the American and National League. He played from 1952 to 1962 and had stints on clubs like the Seattle Rainiers, who we talked about in our Team Autopsies episodes about the Seattle Pilots. He also played for Leones del Caracas and Industriales de Valencia, both respectively from Mexico and Cuba. And he, like many other minority players, would have to travel to other countries during the winter to seek out opportunities to play baseball during this time period. So Bobby's high point in his career came from his time played with the Seattle Rainiers, who were a part of the Pacific Coast League. And he was a force to be reckoned with during his time there. He batted .288 with 126 home runs, 522 RBI, and he did that over the span of 1,756 games. Now, we've discussed this in previous episodes, but it's certainly worth mentioning. The Pacific Coast League wasn't filled with minor league talent. And for some time, its talent base was almost on par with the American and National Leagues. So this points to me, at least to the fact that Balcena's stats should be looked at as being MLB adjacent rather than compiled against minor league level opponents. So Balcena's overall on-field play, particularly during his time with the Rainiers, is fondly remembered by the fans who watched him in the 1950s and beyond.
Make this summer count with Harvard Summer School. With Harvard's free college programs, high school students gain confidence and insight into what college is all about, challenge themselves, and discover new friends. There are over 200 courses to choose from, including college credit courses, so it's the ideal way for students to learn something new, but most importantly, have fun. Visit info.summer.harvard.edu/Spotify to learn more.
Now, after his baseball career, after 1962, he ended up returning to his hometown in San Pedro, California, and he was a beloved figure amongst his peers. Not only was he a guy who helped advance that particular group in terms of their visibility and opening doors for younger, aspiring players to be able to play professional baseball, and he was also known for just being a really nice guy who took pride in his achievements. He once said in an interview, quote, "I wasn't up there long, but I was up there," end quote. Bobby Balcena was a really integral member of his local community. He worked as a longshore fisherman after his career ended, and he would fish when he wasn't playing baseball. And he stayed in the community that he grew up in. And that connection to his hometown was so strong that there was actually a Bobby Balcena night that was held at the old Wrigley Field during a game in which he played. And the stands were filled with San Pedro's fishermen and longshoremen who all came out to celebrate their local hero. That's how much love his community had for him. Not only just for the accomplishments he made, but for someone who really ingrained himself with his peers. Now, just to clarify, we're not talking about Wrigley Field in Chicago. That's actually a famous, this one, the old Wrigley Field, is a famous baseball field in Los Angeles, California, and it had the same name. And it was popular in the area because it hosted minor league baseball teams in the region for more than 30 years. It was demolished in 1969. Balcena passed away at his home at the age of 64. And his death was a significant loss to the community of San Pedro, certainly to people in the Filipino-American community, and then to Asian-American baseball fans at large. There were memorial services that were held for several days in San Pedro, and he really is remembered as one of the town's all-time sports greats. So despite Bobby not being a very large or imposing individual, his friends did say that he was a formidable athlete while he was playing in high school, that he was a superb baseball player. And one friend said in an interview, quote, "If he had been a little bigger, he would have been one of the immortals," end quote. So Bobby Balcena's legacy, it extends far beyond his own career. His breakthrough into Major League Baseball opened doors for other Asian American players. And his actions had ripples in history, in the future. So let's look at some of these players of Asian American descent that were motivated by Balcena opening that door for him. Let's start off with Tim Lincecum. You may know him as the Freak, and he had that unique pitching style during his career. He was one of the most decorated pitchers of his generation, and he was born to Filipino immigrants. He ended up winning 2 Cy Young Awards and 3 World Series championships for the San Francisco Giants. In fact, Tim Lincecum was the first ethnically Filipino person to win a major big league award when he won the Cy Young in 2008. We have Travis Ishikawa. He's still with us, a 4th-generation Japanese American. Ishikawa is best remembered for his walk-off home run that sent the Giants to the 2014 World Series. And his clutch hitting really made him a fan favorite during his time in San Francisco. Another Asian American that benefited from that door being opened by Bobby Balcena. Dave Roberts was born in Okinawa, Japan, and he had a significant impact on baseball both as a player and a manager. He was the individual who got the stolen base in the 2004 American League Championship Series, which is considered one of the most iconic moments in Boston Red Sox history when he stole second against the Yankees. And later on, after his playing career as a manager, he led the Los Angeles Dodgers to their first World Series title in over 30 years in 2020. He made history in 2017 as the first Asian American manager to lead a team to the World Series when he did it with the Dodgers. You have Kurt Suzuki, who is known for his leadership behind the plate. He played for 5 different MLB teams over 15 seasons, and he played a key role in helping the Washington Nationals to their first championship in 2019. And then we have Colton Wong, who is a 2nd-generation Chinese American. And Wong established himself as one of the best defensive second basemen in baseball, and he actually won the Gold Glove Award in 2019 and 2020. So these players, just these 5, really show us that Bobby Balcena opened a door that others followed through. And that continuing legacy and furthering the representation of Asian Americans in baseball is incredibly important. They serve as a testament to Balcena's impact and the importance of diversity on baseball. So when we look at Bobby Balcena's career, it is marked as a significant milestone in baseball history. Just to recap, he's the first player of Asian American descent in Major League Baseball. He represented a shift in the sport towards greater diversity and inclusion, and his career was a beacon of hope, really, and inspiration for aspiring Asian American baseball. Now, today we look at Bobby Balcena, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a plaque in Cooperstown. He doesn't have any sort of major recognition from Major League Baseball for breaking this barrier. But we do have to look at players like Tim Lincecum, Travis Ishikawa. We look at Dave Roberts. We look at other Asian Americans and their impact on baseball. And we can certainly say that Bobby Balcena was the catalyst for this progress. And for that, we honor his memory here on this show. Folks, thanks so much for joining me for another episode. I hope to see you next week. And remember, as always, there are only two seasons, winter and baseball.